Here on FilmsGoneWild.com. My name is John Wildman, and we are at the San Pedro International Film Festival talking to shorts filmmakers. And we paired two filmmakers here because one of them demanded that they do this interview together, but also thematically, these films kind of work together. What we have is Sarah Bullion. Is it? Because I never asked you. Is it Bullion?
Yeah, that's fine.
No, it's not fine. What is it?
No, it's actually. Is this on? I'm not
Yes,
sure
it's
if
on.
Okay. I say Bullion, but it's Bouillon or Bouillon, or it doesn't really. Honestly.
I'll go Bullion. All right.
No,
Sarah
but that's not
Bullion.
right.
She's a producer of the film Cold Call, and we have with us Stacie Hawkins. She's the director and writer of the film OLLIE and the Scary Story. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
All right. We always start this off by having our filmmakers introduce the audience to your films because they haven't seen them as yet. Mm-hmm. So Stacie, tell us about OLLIE and the Scary Story.
OLLIE and the Scary Story is a 5-minute short film about a young man who, about a young 12-year-old boy who's obsessed with electronics. And one night he asks it to tell him a scary story. And after that, it begins to haunt him. And any piece of electronic that he picks up will continue this scary story that freaks him out.
Right. Before we move on to you, Sarah, I was laughing as I was watching the movie because my wife has Alexa, mm-hmm. and the Alexa has this prompt on it that constantly is asking you to ask for a punchline for a joke or ask it a question. And I'm going, Alexa is like desperate for attention.
Right.
Holy crap, Alexa, just tone it down.
Tone it down.
If I need something, I'll ask you. Jesus Christ. So then when I was watching yours with Milu, I was like going, holy crap. Yeah. Yes.
Alexa does not know her place.
No,
Will Alexa tell you a story if you ask Alexa to tell you a story?
Probably.
Yeah.
Because I have Google.
Because they want to inspire you to interact with it as much as possible.
Yes.
And it's like, Alexa, you need to back off.
Yeah. Right. I have Google and it does the same thing. And you'll ask it one thing and then it'll continue. And if you need this, you can just say this. And it's like, I just wanted that one answer.
Yeah. Okay, Sarah, tell us about Cold Call.
Okay, Cold Call is about a man who thinks he's the emperor of his world, and he's a deal maker, and he's gets whatever he wants, and he's driving in on his commute to his office, and he's stuck in Beverly Hills traffic, and the phone rings. He's rolling calls. The phone rings. He's like, "Hey, what's up?" And on the other line is his daughter, and she is screaming bloody murder and, "Daddy, they're gonna kill me! Daddy, they're gonna..." And a guy pops up and he starts talking about ransom. He starts talking about money, and he's like, "I need it now, and if you don't give me the money now, I'm gonna kill her." And he's stuck in traffic and he can't do anything, and people are honking and banging on his windows, and he's just freaking out. Of course, he doesn't know what to do. For the first time in his life, he feels utterly out of control. And then he gets an idea, and he turns and he looks at his iPad. Should I tell the ending?
Don't tell the ending.
And
people
then
have to watch.
see the
People
rest.
have to watch the movie.
To find out what
they
happens.
must watch the movie.
Yes.
And here's one. Both of these films deal with family, but they also deal with frightening us, building a scare and building a dread in two very different ways. Because in OLLIE, you've got a family film. You've got a film that's aimed at kids. Let's face it. That's your audience that you're working with. Mm-hmm. And so just like the Goosebumps series and things like that, doing scares on that level takes a different kind of finesse than, say, the kind of films that I like to make that, I'm going blood and guts and I'm going to scare the crap out of you and try to do that. But you have to go, I can only take it to this certain level. So talk about that challenge, writing that, of like going, I'd love to do this, but I can't quite.
I'm actually a chicken when it comes to horror. So I grew up in a family that loves horror. So as a kid, like I saw The Exorcist and all that stuff scared me. And I'm like, horror, I don't do horror. But it keeps creeping up in the stuff that I write, so maybe I do, but I do light horror. So it was easy for me to keep it kind of light. But I did find that some people did kind of see it as scary, and, but my actor, who's like 12 years old, he wanted to make it scarier, and he was like, "What if? What if?" And I was like, "No, it's too."
What if Milo jumped on me? And what if this? Yeah, I can see
Yes.
that.
You're like, I can't handle that.
I can't. It's too scary. So, but yeah, I wanted to have that tension and suspense, but not have it be too much.
Right,
You know?
right.
So it can be open, more family friendly,
Right.
but still entertaining.
And now the challenge with Cold Call is that you're on one dude. You're on one dude in one car, and you go, so you've got to ratchet up tension, and you've also got to make us not be bored as shit watching a guy in his car. And there are methods to doing that, in cutting and editing, and and not to mention performance. But talk about the conversations you had with your director on, okay, we need to build momentum, or we need to do this, things like that.
Yeah, Catherine was really great, and of course we had just a brilliant actor in Michael O'Neill, and
let's name check, Catherine.
sorry, what am I saying?
Catherine
Catherine Cronin, the
Catherine
director
Cronin,
and
director.
writer. This is actually based on a true story. This actually happened to Catherine's father, which is terrifying. So not only were we working with a consummate professional in Michael O'Neill, he also has daughters, and so it was easy for him to get there. And it was, and they did have conversations about where to build and where the points are turning. And I gave a note in the editing about wanting to see that moment where the idea comes to him. I wanted to see that hit harder and watch his eyes go, oh, I know what's going on. I know what's happening here. I know how to solve this problem. But it was a tough day for Michael. It was a tough day for everybody, especially because it happened to Catherine's father, and Catherine's father thought she was going to die. So it was an intense shoot.
Now let's talk about the practicalities of cinema, because you're shooting in a car, you're shooting in traffic, you're shooting, like, they're different, as a producer, headache-orama with doing this kind of thing. So talk about the approach on that.
Oh, I thought it was a blast. I thought it was so fun. We were lucky enough to have solid funding, so we were able to get a trailer car so that Michael didn't have to drive and act for a fair piece of it, and then we were able to shut down a street in Century City so that we could just build the traffic around him and we wouldn't have to worry about so many variables. I love stuff like that. I love and I loved creating a bubble around Michael so that he was comfortable just doing whatever he wanted to do and handling the logistics that came with that.
That must be nice. I mean, I've worked on budget productions where, like, the car didn't even start with the key, like they had to start the screwdriver, and there's like a light duct taped to the thing above me, and there's a guy like in the crawl space shooting and things like that.
Well, I've been doing this for 25 years or something like that, and I worked on some of the biggest productions that ever have been, and little productions, and it was great not to be able to have to shoot this short at such a threshold that we had nothing but consummate professionals. We had, people at the top of their game, people who've, been doing this forever. And it makes it so much easier because everybody knows what's happening. Everybody knows where they're supposed to be, what they're supposed to be. The equipment is all top, beautifully working. And so everybody has the best tools to work with. And it's just, everything flows so smoothly when you hire professionals and have perfect, beautiful gear.
There you go. And then let's talk on OLLIE. Let's talk about the practical aspect of Milu, frankly. Like finding the right prop or creating the right prop. In this case, you go, something has to look benign and then eventually look menacing.
Yeah.
And that. So talk about that.
My production was low budget in that no budget realm, and so we couldn't afford to create something, and so I just went to a store and found a lamp that looked like a children's lamp, but then we took it and changed the lights in it and tried to make it look very like this would be something in a children's bedroom. But then when the light starts flashing And the way we shot it was just started making it look more and more menacing.
That's a great cue when the lights start flashing.
Yeah.
You're like, uh-oh, what's going to happen?
Yes.
Exactly. And was that like the first one that you found? Did it take a while? Did you stumble on it? Was it like, holy crap, we got it. We finally found something.
Yeah, I went to IKEA and just started looking around.
Production designed by IKEA.
Yes.
We'll blurb that out.
Right? I just was looking at kids' lamps, and when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's it. Yeah.
It's not a menace at IKEA.
No.
Things are not menacing.
You can't. The arrows on the floor saying you must walk this way. That's menacing.
Yes.
I'm going to get an ice cream.
Right.
The meatballs. What are the meatballs made of? That's menacing. Come on, IKEA is just scary. It is.
Scary place.
Screws and the very small Allen wrenches.
Yes. And the directions in all the different languages, and still can't figure it out. Yeah.
That's hilarious. Okay. Again, let's talk about working with actors. And again, when you're working with a kid, again, there's a different energy with directing them.
Right.
There's a different thought process in their head. There's oftentimes just a different engagement to keep them engaged.
Yes.
Yes. During those moments where you're lighting and setting up the
Yes.
shot. So talk about those challenges.
My actor Andrew Carr was a professional already. We live in the same apartment building, so I knew he was an actor, and I knew he was interested in doing short films. So I came up with this idea, and I presented it to him and his parents, and they were like, yeah, let's do it. And so because he worked on sets before, and he's a union actor, he was very professional, and he listened, and his parents also worked with him as well, going through the script. So he was great. He knew what he was doing, and I also felt like the more tired he got, which like in long days and production and waiting around, the more natural he became. So that was one thing I did notice. But overall, he was great. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, Sarah, last question I had for you, because you've done a lot of productions of various sizes and stripes. Why the hell are you doing a short film? Why deal with that pain in the assery for just a short?
It's not just, they're not just short films anymore. They're not just, what you do in your downtime or what you're doing in anticipation of doing something else. They're actually their own little art form now. And it was a great script, and I'd worked with Catherine Cronin and her father, Chris Cronin, before, and we worked well together. And it was just really fun. It was a great challenge. And short films you can get so much punch in so little time. It's like a poem, and I've been writing poetry since I was a kid, so it's it's a haiku of energy and storytelling and things like that. So it's really fun. And then also, you really can't beat the pound for pound the film festival circuit. It's just so fun to be able to take your short all over the place. So we've been in a bunch of shorts and a bunch of festivals, and it's just really, the whole thing is just terrific.
Well, both I love both of these. I also love the fact that they were very economical in the runtime, because even in shorts world, you go, really? Did you need that much time? Really, tell that?
A short should not be over 10 minutes, is my opinion. Like more than 10 minutes, and you get back in the cutting room. Yeah.
Again, the films are OLLIE and the Scary Story, and we've been talking with Stacie Hawkins. She's the director and screenwriter of that film. And Cold Call with Sarah Bullion, the producer of that film. It's been great talking movies with you.
Thanks so much. Thank you for having us.
Yes.